I'm so happy to be here. I had to sacrifice my Saturday activity, but because this is more important than whatever I had to do. When I listen to all this profile about me and things like that, and then it stops. But I'm in court, and I'm being investigated for criminal activities. So you should add that one. I have 25 minutes, and I must say I'm so pleased about the organization that is hosting us, especially with respect to how they're keeping time. Because I'm supposed to speak at 11, and here I am dead on 11. Not sit down and do this, because that is one aspect of the values that we don't have, which is actually putting us where we are. If we can get the aspect of time right, think about the productivity that we'll get, think about the respect that we'll have for other people. So the organizers, kudos to you, and thank you very much. Nowadays, I get faced with very difficult questions. And the question that I find most difficult to answer is, Mr. Mwabe, so why are we here? Do we leave this country or do we stay? And you can't tell a Ghanaian that leave your country and go. And you also know about the hardships in this country. And you have to be straight. And I always say I'm a man of integrity, I speak the truth, and I'm honest. So I have to face this question. When people ask me what I do, I tell them, first and foremost, do you believe there is a creator? That there's a God? And then invariably they will say yes, that this world was created by someone. I said, okay, the architect put you in Ghana because he had a plan for you in Ghana. Now, if you leave to somewhere else, he's still your product. You are still his product. But you caused the architect or the creator a bit of problem. He now must think of how to use you for other means. You are not useless, but then what do I do with this person I've created? And therefore he has to change his plan. And I don't think we want to give God problems always for him to be changing his plan. So first thing, if you believe in God and God has put you here, this is where your dream is. This is where your effectiveness is. Number two, if you want to excel in this world and make your mark and pay back to your creator, the aim is to change something for the better. In fact, businesses are set up to change things for the better, for people's life to be better. So Ghana has a lot of problems. So it actually means that there are a whole lot of opportunities here. So don't just run away because there are problems. There are problems because you are supposed to find some solutions to some of them. The third point is, I don't like going outside Ghana, especially to the Western world and even China and the Eastern world and all those things, because one, you don't belong there, and they don't even respect you. The average person doesn't respect you because you are black and because our country is not developed. Let's face it. Because you come out of your hotel or your house, step outside, and kids and whatever people look at you differently. I can't stomach that one. And at least I prefer to be amongst my people and together we struggle to change our situation than just run away from it. Bear in mind, if it's about going to improve yourself and better yourself and build capacities and come back, you're most welcome to do that. But if you overstay, you lose your network here and it's difficult for you to come back. So, in a nutshell, I've answered the question, do you go? Please don't just go. Because God put you here for a purpose. And you have to do a whole lot of things, build your own capacities and things like that. And change. If you can change life for even one person, that one person in about 100 years' time, you cannot imagine what the effect will be. So don't run away. And with that, I want to liken it to my own situation. I left the army in 1982. I saw some young lady looking at me thinking I'm a young man. I'm 71. And why? You think I'm not effective? So, in 1982, I was in the army, but those were the days of the coups and the revolutions. And Ghana's economy was worse than it is now. There was petrol queues, no food, all sorts of things. And that was the time I chose to leave the armed forces. And when I left the armed forces, I didn't have a job. I didn't have a plan B. I didn't have anything. I just said I was fed up with the armed forces because the armed forces had been turned upside down. There were now other ranks who were now superiors and even governing the country. So I left. And my immediate plan was to go back to UK where I'd studied to become an accountant. So I went to UK and looked for my close friend, British guy. And I said, Derek, it's so bad in my country and you have to help me get a job. And Derek said, okay, I'll give it a try. So he contacted his company and he said he got me a job in the place called Salisbury in UK. And I was supposed to be some sort of bookkeeper. And Derek was assistant accountant in London. So I said, Derek, but I was brighter than you in school, so why this? I said, you don't have papers, and you, with the way you talk, you better shut up, go and hide in Salisbury because we have to cover up for you. And I said, okay, keep the job, I'll come back. And I came to Ghana, and I knew I wasn't going to go back. How do I go and hide in some Salisbury place, bookkeeper? Irrelevant. Then I drove to Nigeria, and those days there were a lot of Ghanaian graduates in Nigeria teaching and doing all sorts of things. I went to see my friends, and what they did was, well, they had decent jobs, the pay was enough. They would buy Guinness in the evening with light soup and goat head. And it was nice, and we chat and we laugh. And they said, Kofi, go and pack and come. And I said, okay, maybe I'll come back. I knew I wasn't going to go back. Life is not all about taking light soup and good head and being okay. That's not life. Then I went to Liberia, it didn't work, and I came back. And I said, I'll stick it out here. Because I'm not the dumbest Ghanaian, and I see people successful, so I must find something to do. And therefore, I started following my next door neighbor, who was a business person, and doing business. Buy and sell. Then we get into timber business. Then we get into construction. Then we get into hardware. Then we import wines. Then we get into air conditioning. I've been an electrical contractor before. I've done also for 15 years. I did almost every business imaginable. And then finally, because of the problems associated with funding, I decided that, listen, and when I was denied funding, and it pained me, I decided that, listen, what is funding about? I think I know how to lend. As a chartered accountant, as a military man, as a management, past management student, school of administration, and 15 years of business, I will show people how to lend. And therefore, I started Unique Trust Financial Services. I'm saying this to let you be aware that when the going gets tough and you stick to it and try to find solutions, you will fail so many times. But stay strong to your cause. And don't think too much about how others are seeing you. Because I remember my time I said, oh, a whole captain, and then he's carrying fans and air conditioners around and things like that. I didn't care. And eventually I started Unique Trust. Now, the Unique Trust story, I cannot say it in 25 minutes, but I'll give you a gist about it. When I started Unique Trust, I was 45 years old. That was in 1997. And I was broke. Not only was I broke, but I also had a broken home because my wife had left me with my kids. And I had nothing in my house. So it can be done. I was broke with a broken home, and actually, age was not on my side, 45 years. But we started Unique Trust, and we had all the problems that you can think about. To start off was a problem with funding. And you know when you start business, people are trying to promise you of all the things that they can do for you when you start and so forth. You go back to them, and almost all of them will disappoint you. And that's the same problem we went through. But the point is, you must keep your eye on the business that you want to do and try to build the right capacities and make sure that you do not get distracted. So I was 15 years in the wilderness. And I tell you, we're all created uniquely, and we're all here for a purpose. So the point is, you must look for your purpose and be alert and be prepared to realize that this is my purpose and I'll take it up. Now, some of the initial challenges that we had, how do we employ people? Somebody talked about how to register the company. I had taught at the stock exchange for about 12 years. So I knew a lot about companies and so forth. And you form the company, but again, I made a mistake that our lawyer friend was warning us about. Because I had this friend who were going up and down with, all that happened was, oh, Kojo, let's do 50-50. And that was how it started. Not thinking about what he's bringing in and what I'm bringing in, but putting friendship first. So the structure of the company has to be right. You must think it through. If you have to see someone who's done it before, right. If you have to see a lawyer, as she was saying, but it is so crucial that you have to get the structure right. If you don't get it right, it will come back to bite you. Then, of course, you have problem with funding. In my situation, it was quite interesting. I had powerful friends, people who had money. And they all told me that, oh, Kofi, wait. When you get the license, we'll give you money. And I had plans to start in a very plush offices. Each one of them failed to deliver. And I was left with my license for a finance house and no investors. Now, the lesson that I learned from there is when you're looking for money to fund your business, your main source are your friends, family, and relatives. If it's a small business. Friends, family, and relatives. But what it requires is that they must see you as a person of integrity. If you've been doing back amongst your friends and family, and you go to them and say, I have a business, they won't listen. With me, they knew that I was a strict soldier, disciplined, and that when I promise something, I do, and I was honest. But even that, I struggled to get the money. Now, few things I want you to note that to raise the money, you must have a small business plan. It can even be in an exercise book on some sheets of paper. Your business, what's about, what you intend to do, your product, your services, and the costs associated and possible profit. 2 pages will be enough. And this, you go to people, family, friends, and relatives, and try to sell this to them. Now, when we go to tell this to them, what we don't do is, we do not even think about the cost of their money. So people say that I am a community of and my father, my uncle is very rich, and he didn't mind me, he didn't give me the money I asked for. But he has alternate use for the money. He could put it in treasury bill and earn some money. So discuss your business and discuss how much return you're going to give them, even if it's your mother, how much return you're going to give them out of the business. That's the first thing. And people go to relatives and say, I need a collateral to go to the bank. But that collateral is going to be at risk Therefore, what are you paying them for the risk? So state the kind of interest you're going to give them on it. And one crucial thing, don't go to people and say, I need 1 million or I need 100,000. It's too big an amount for anybody to risk. So what you probably want to do is to go to maybe 5, 10, 20 people with your proposal and raise 5,000, 10,000, 20,000. You have a better chance of getting that. In my case, the reason why I got to that was nobody was giving the big money. I wanted 200 million cities, old cities at the time. So a lot of money all the same. And anywhere I went, I was rejected. Then this one friend called me and said, I went to see him and he said, Kofi, for 200 million, it will spoil our friendship, but I can give you 10 million. If you don't pay the 10 million, it's okay, we'll be friends. And it hit me. And I said, it's not that they don't want to help, but they want to help so they don't actually break down. Therefore, I wrote to about 55 of my friends asking for 5 million cities. And in the end, I had only 13 people responding, and I had 255 million cities. So you have to fight at it. There are angel investors, if you can find them, fine. But again, there are risks associated to that because they want to take maybe 90% or 70% of your business because they are bringing all the money. Don't throw it away. It's probably an opportunity for you to make something and move on. But if you're a new business, please don't waste your time going to the banks to go and present all sort of proposals. You may start probably with a microfinance, but it means you have to be transacting with them for some time before you can raise some small amount. So funding as a major problem, these are some of the things that you need to know to overcome it. People don't want to share their business plans because they think somebody will steal it. You have the vision. You know what you've seen, and you know what moves you, and you are unique. Don't worry about that. If you have to go to people, and discuss your business plan with them, please kindly do that. Don't worry about it. They haven't seen the vision. You are the only person who has seen that vision, and you can make it work. My time is running so fast. So now to run a good business and to get growth, what you have to do along the path from your infancy, build capacities, acquire knowledge. And acquiring knowledge is part of what you're doing right here. Going to school is part of it. The other thing is adopt a savings habit, no matter how much it is. We are in a church premises, I guess. Now, you give tithe, or you're supposed to give tithe 10% for the church. Hooray! How much percentage are you giving for yourself? So think about it. Avoid waste at all times. And I'm a stickler for avoiding waste. I tell people I have only one watch because I don't need 2 watches to keep time. I have only one car that I drive myself because I want to drive myself, and I don't need 2 cars. Nowadays, if my car should go to the workshop, I take Uber. And people don't understand why they see me in Uber. But we sit in Uber when we are out of this country, but in Ghana, we don't want to sit in Uber. It's our problem. And reinvest any monies that come into your business. Reinvest it in the business. Don't spend it to show off, to let people know that you've now come of age, and therefore, check me, I'm employed on 3 people, I've become a big woman, a big man. It's a waste of time. If you want to impress, go and stand at Manhattan and impress the whole world. Don't stay here in Kumasi or Kofodia or something and try to impress the whole world. And also look for mentorship in building your capacity. Look for mentorship. Now, there are other things that as a new business trying to look for growth, you have to look out for. Your product or your service should be quite clearly defined. The product or service should be very clearly defined because that is your mission. I'm in this business to give this product or this service, and this is the process by which I deliver it. They should be quite refined. Then you also have to think, of course, about your customers. How do we attract the customers? How do we retain them? And how do we grow the customer base? Because they are the people who support the business. And then you probably want to think about branding. Anytime I talk about branding, I must mention Nyamransa Junction. They are all selling the same Fanti Kinki. But you have Araba, Ifua, whatever. They are trying to brand to say, because they are branding with the service they provide alongside the Kinki. Now, the most important success factor is your people, your team that is delivering. Because what will make a business succeed, there are only 4 things, maybe 5, depending on the industry in which you are. First is probably your product. That's your mission. What are you delivering? What are you selling? And the process by which you deliver it. 2, it's the customers. How do you keep the customers? How do you make them feel good so they will come back? 3 is profitability, because if you are not making profit, the business is not sustainable. And the 4th one, which is the most important, is the people again. Because your people are going to make sure your product is delivered right, the processes are right, and is on time. And the people are also going to make sure that your customers are satisfied and retained, and so on and so forth. And your people will eventually make sure that you make a profit. And they will make sure the brand is also sustained. I've been giving some 10 minutes, so don't think I'm abusing your time. I hope I can have your 10 minutes. Thank you. Now, with the people, because, and listen to me carefully, because we have wrong cultures and traditions in Ghana and Africa for that matter, you must build your own culture, a different culture. Don't let them bring the nonsense from the upbringing into your company. And how you do it? You as the leader should set the value system that you want to operate. Put systems in place. You must lead it. Don't come to the office and say, don't do that, and then they find you doing it. Because you put a culture in place, you lead that kind of culture. And the culture, I mean the values that everybody in the company keeps. You must be honest. You must strive for professionalism. You must have respect for everybody, and that's most important. From the cleaner or watchman to the MD, everyone must be respected. That is what life is about. You cannot go about life thinking some people are inferior, because they must respect themselves and accept the company as their own, and they should feel that the company is there for them and it cares for them, and that their future is with the company. That's the way to get it. Now, as a last bit, and I'm rushing a bit, but it's okay. I think there will be a big Q&A. Okay. I'll tell you about my pet subject, which is time. The only reason why people will come to you to give you custom or to patronize your products or services is because they want quality time in their lives. And they want to save time, period. Every human being wants to have quality time, and they want to save time. But by saving time, they can do so much with their life. And quality time, because they must feel good, feel respected, feel recognized, feel admired, feel healthy, and so on and so on. So people come to you only because they want to have quality time and they want to save time. So every product service in this world must provide a tool. So you take your mobile phone. Everyone wants it, because it saves so much time. And then it also gives quality time. You can watch the news, you can save your contacts, you can talk to people, you can watch all sorts of things on it. And I mean all sorts of things. And therefore, everyone wants it. Now, for quality time's sake, some people like, if they can afford the expensive ones, because they want people to see that, you know, my life is worth something, I'm assuming. So, if you apply this to your business, you can never go wrong. Because when it comes to your products, the product must save people time and give them quality time. If you remember those days, UT Financial Service, your loan in 48 hours. That is what set us apart. And we had to strive to make sure that we deliver on time for the SMEs and for the individuals. And once they experienced that, yes, they could get their loan in 48 hours, they didn't want to spend 2 months, 3 months, even as at now, with the banks. So even though we're expensive, they wanted to pay and get the money to save their time. Then, of course, we gave them quality time too. Because when you came in, you didn't have to see any person down the line. Anybody who walked into UT for the first time came straight from the reception to me. And they feel, yeah, oh, I went there, and the CEO himself saw me, the CEO himself. So they feel good, they feel respected. So that's a bit about the product and the services. Make sure it saves them time and it gives them quality time. Then you think about the customer. The customer, I've said already, the customer is coming to you only because they want to experience something different, and they want to be recognized and respected, and they don't want you to waste their time. Even if you should go to Dubai, wherever, Maldives, for holiday, that is for quality time, when you order a drink or food and it doesn't come early, you get pissed because you don't want your time to be wasted. So the two things must go together. And so all the critical factors of production or success can be defined with time. And if you look at it in this country, if Ghana and our leadership will respect us with saving us time, just saving us time, don't even think about the quality time. It means our roads must be fixed. It means our hospitals must deliver on time. It means transportation should be on time. It means the president should be on time. It means everybody should be on. If we can do just that, the interesting thing is it doesn't require raw materials. It doesn't require foreign exchange. It requires discipline of the mind. And that's what we don't have. So on that note, you clapped already, so I'll say thank you very much. It's nice being here. My 25 minutes is past, and I have to respect your time.